Heroin has a hold on Wisconsin, and there's data to back that up.
But rarely do we hear directly from those recovering from addiction. Tonight, those in recovery have an honest conversation with our Matthew Simon about how addiction has forever changed their lives.
Didn't really fit in with too many people in my school.
Like loneliness and boredom.
The biggest one for me is anxiety.
Numbing that pain in this room full of recovering addicts.
Well, open to talking about it. Do you want to talk about it as a group? Do you want to talk about it individually?
Is the common link that led them to abuse drugs.
It never made sense to me why these bad things kept happening to me.
Heroin's story usually starts with a millennium generation hooked on opiate prescriptions.
By the time I was 21 or 22, it became an everyday thing.
Prescription painkillers became the first thing that I really struggled with.
A struggle rooted in the brain's wiring, drugs changing the chemical makeup. So in the middle of the nation cracking down on painkillers, many addicts fearing withdrawal, thinking they cannot function without their next hit, were driven directly into heroin's arms.
It's amazing. It reduces anxiety, it reduces pain, and then you keep on doing it, and then it stops working, right? It doesn't stop pain, it doesn't stop your anxiety, it makes everything worse.
Worse and worse, the number of Wisconsin heroin deaths have doubled between 2008 and 2011, most of them 15 to 24-year-olds.
I lost quite a few people over the years, and I have to say almost all of them were due to heroin.
The only thing Allen says kept him off heroin was getting arrested.
The high is more important than anything else, so I wouldn't have hesitated.
For the others, already so far down that drug path, there was no stopping something they once said they'd never try.
At that time, I was just so far into it that I kind of forgot about those promises.
I end up getting into one of the hardest drugs ever. I do heroin. It's what?
I had tried heroin a couple times. I had an ex-girlfriend that overdosed, and I was witness to it. So that scared me away from it.
These are some of Connection Counseling's lucky ones, now in sobriety. But just outside of this room, a remembrance wall shows the other side of heroin's devastating reality, including 26-year-old Chase Newman, who died in 2012. While Dane County had 3 heroin deaths in 2000, numbers obtained by News 3 Investigate show by 2013 that number was 40.
When we lose somebody, it's like losing a family member. It really, it hits us all real hard.
Skye Tikkanen's empathy goes beyond helping fellow addicts by sharing her story.
And I said that I would never do heroin, right? That was my end of the line, no way. But then a boyfriend got me to do it with him.
She is also Connection's assistant director.
Addiction really comes from pain, and if we can reduce people's pain in our community, we reduce addiction.
Here they teach recovering addicts how to literally connect.
The reason for it is because we're so used to making friends through hey, let's go use.
For these 3 faces of addiction, shattering stereotypes, they are now thankfully dealing with their pain.
When people think that, drug addicts are lazy, and then they meet us and, hard-working farmer.
I'd consider myself one of the best farmers around.
And smart IT guy.
I've held that job for 3 years, which is about how long I've been sober.
And future star chef.
Found a great job. I'm paying my bills. I'm doing all these things that I would have never been able to do if I was still using.
It changes their minds.
Madison police tell us right now supporting a heroin habit means spending between $150 and $200 per gram of heroin, good for 5 to 15 hits depending on the user. When new Attorney General Brad Schimmel was sworn in last month, he won that election in part by putting drug dealers on notice, promising to stop Wisconsin's epidemic. But the addicts we talked to consistently mentioned insurance creating access problems, not dealers, as the #1 issue they'd like to see addressed. If you or someone you know is battling addiction, there is help. We have posted those links on our channel3000.com web article. And for the remainder of the hour, we'll be starting a web chat soon with Sky, and she'll be joining us for the rest of the hour to answer any question you have. That's on our Facebook page to pick up the link.
A lot we learned there from their perspective, an eye-opening report from Matthew Simon tonight. Matthew, thank you.